So, without further ado, we're going to blitz away, and we're going to answer your questions. Well, he did a lot of good things for trying to bring Christians and Jews together. He made some rabidly anti-Semitic statements, and then he had a change of heart, which was good, and was trying to be more observant. The good thing about Charlie Kirk was he believed in polite discourse. And now others would say that made him a polite fascist. He was politely discussing fascist concepts. But the point is that he had an important point to make, which is that adults should be able to agree to disagree without somebody picking up a gun and shooting them. And this is, the fact that they're trying to bury civil war within MAGA between the Nazis and the pro-Israel groups. I think it's very obvious to us why he was killed, and dragging trans people in and encouraging violence against trans people and saying it has something is just part of, I hope you're angry because I'm angry, and be angry for your trans brothers and sisters that are being murdered and killed for no reason in order to scapegoat the actions of a neo-Nazi. We should be angry. The days of pink triangles have come to an end. We fight for those that, we stand as allies to the LGBT community. We're not fair weather friends. All right, let's do some blitzes. Russian drones are still invading Romanian and Poland airspace. Let's see how this is going to play out. I think we're looking at retaliation here. And the first card is the Queen of Cups. Can we all just get along? Can we all just get along? We're trying desperately to get to peace. And the opposition, Two of Cups. He's trying to push, he's doing this to try and get us to a peace treaty so that he can get territory, right? He wants territory. Putin wants territory, and that is why he's doing this. Get to ceasefire as soon as possible. I see grief and loss here. He's hoping that by doing these actions, it will frighten NATO into a peace or an agreement. Two of Cups. Clarification, stress. People don't want to go to war, and so for that reason, either you give me a peace treaty and you give me part of Ukraine, or I'm going to attack NATO. And the final outcome here is no, it's not going to fly his way. Tower. NATO is not going to sit back and let a crazy man dictate, and Tower is coming. So we can expect more attacks inside Russia, I'm sorry to say. This is definitely what Putin wants. Putin wants them to cede territory, right? So I'm going to attack the world if you don't give me what I want. Thank you for these questions, by the way, because they're very relevant today, because we really are now, I think NATO is at war with Russia directly at this point and fighting back. Seven of Wands moving into seventh position. So yeah. We're not going to, that's an encroachment. Remember, anytime you see wands, you guys, wands are time and space. Why time and space? Does anybody have the answer there? Anybody from my class? Why do we think about time and space when we see the fire of the wands, which is associated in Chinese medicine with the wood element and the fire element? Remember, swords is metal and air, right? The metal element in Chinese, which is associated with air, the lungs and the large intestine. We just talked about that. But why wands fire and wood. And why does Coleman talk about territory, time and space? Time and space. So here we have Seven of Wands, time and space. There's Ukraine, right? Are we going to sit back and allow that to happen? So the question remains, how do we respond? Everything that could be done to get to ceasefire, was it done? Was it done with Gaza? Was it done with Ukraine? What are the legal ramifications? The Queen of Swords comes with the sword of truth, and the final outcome, again, to walk away. Someone is walking away. I just can't believe that NATO is going to just start letting this lunatic take over Europe. There's the peace offer. There's the Queen of Wands. She wants time and space, right? My way, boom, boom, my way. Hopes and fears. Seven of Swords, the thief. And the final outcome, no. No, Ukraine will be whole. Remember, the Nine of Pentacles is about wholeness and confidence in the garden. Pentacles is associated with work. It also has an element of time in relationship to the time it takes to do the work and payment. What are y'all thinking? What are y'all thinking? Any opinions here? Very good. Sarah got it right. So we see time and space in the wands because of dendrochronology. Absolutely true. The only symbol in the card chart when we're looking at the minor arcana that grows, that is bound by time, is wands. This is why readers can only be confident about time with wands, though I've had old time witches say pentacles as well because of a week's wages. And that's an old concept. So, but definitely wands grow, and time is trapped in the wands. And they require space. Air doesn't require space in the same way. It can be contained. It can be, same with water. It goes with the flow. You can't see time. You cannot see time at all with water. If you're getting water, you just give it up. You cannot see time with water. What was the outcome? Eight of Pentacles. So if I was an old-time witch, I'd say 2 months. Right? I'll leave the witches to decide. I'm more Buddhist than anything else. All right. Will Ukraine be full-pledged member of NATO? I'm getting a real resistance to that NATO does not want to ever go through this again. Well, if you don't want to go through this ever again, you need to make Ukraine part of NATO. Oh, there are ethical concerns, the old school, the old order, this is the dogma, the church, the old order, the opposition, Three of Cups, a desire for peace, hopes and fears, the economic. So there's a feeling that Ukraine cannot economically contribute to NATO. What the economic, we're going to have to pay for their membership. And then the final outcome is greed. There's an economic reason why they don't want to bring NATO in, because it means that they would be economically responsible for the rebuild and the protection. So that it's an economic decision. Yeah, you can see the business card. The money issue is the issue. Four of Pentacles is frugality. The work also being responsible for the rebuild. If a NATO country gets bombs and needs a rebuild or needs military or financial aid, then NATO is responsible. So it was an economic decision. Ultimately, justice will prevail. The holdout is financial. Yeah, well, they have no choice. They're going to have to do it. Justice comes in. So for that reason, they need to be part of NATO. The economic burden. Well, war is a burden, folks. All right. The killing of Charlie Kirk. Let's find out a little bit about the killer. Tyler. Is that his name? Tyler Holden or something like that? Tyler, what's his last name? Holding? All right. Tyler Robinson, excuse me. Tyler Robinson. Let's find out about what is going on with Tyler Robinson. I just feel the amphetamines in my system, and I'm pumped up. Pumped up and raring to go. Four of Pentacles. He's been advised by his lawyer not to talk to anybody or not to speak. So his energy is retracted. He's been told not to give names. So if he was communicating via email or 4chan and anybody was egging him on, then in that sense you could say it was a conspiracy. It was a conspiracy in the sense that he may have told people, or there may have been people encouraging him that were part of these groups, and he is now silencio. Four of Pentacles is to retract or pull back. His opposition at this time, Knight of Swords. So, he's well hated. Also, it could be that if he turns over the names of people that are part of the Groypers group, they could assassinate him. So it becomes like Ruby, where Ruby kills Oswald, and then Ruby dies of stomach cancer, which looked a lot like poisoning, right? Didn't he die of what could have been a poisoning, but they called it stomach cancer? Sounds like a Russian way of getting rid of someone. Isn't that how Ruby died? The assassin of Oswald. So Oswald gets turned, goes to Russia, marries a Russian. Oswald probably kills them, but kills the guy because the Russians I think the Russians killed Kennedy, and I think they wanted, not the CIA, but the Russians. And I think that they wanted him gone because he was threatening nuclear. We were on the verge of the Bay of Pigs. We were on the verge of nuclear war. So Oswald takes him out, and then there's evidence that Oswald was a Russian operative, married to a Russian woman. Then Ruby, is that his name? Kills him, and then dies of stomach cancer, a stomach thing. So I think the Russians poison the guy that assassinates the assassin. So now we have a situation where it's possible that there could be an attempt to assassinate the assassin of Kirk in order to cover up his possible ties with neo-Nazis or with this group. And then the hopes and fears, Two of Pentacles, back and forth. I think that he's facing a risk of assassination himself. He could be under protection. He could be under government protection for fear of assassination, or he has to be separated from the population in prison because of this. He's got the assassin in his 8th house, what he fears. So there's a chance this kid's going to get taken out. Did not expect to see that, and thank you for the question. There he is. The guy who keeps secrets. Again, the guy who keeps secrets is the King of Pentacles and Three of Wands. He's under protection, and I think that in a sense you could say it was a conspiracy in that he was motivated to hate. He was motivated by certain groups, and those groups, giving information about those groups that egged him on or encouraged this, or that he may have talked to online that radicalized him, is what is currently being documented. The King of Wands is the protector. You remember, time and space is the King of Wands, right? So he is like Judah, the head of the tribe. He is the protector. You're under his wing. And so that leads me to suspect that he's going to have to be under heavy protection, and he has to be separated from the general population, or he will be assassinated, possibly by neo-Nazis in prison, in answer to that question. Any questions about that? Okay, next question. Evidence of Epstein's files on members of Congress this week. Again, what does this say about the rift that's starting to happen between Nazis and the evangelical Christians inside the Republican Party, and the fact that MAGA is now turning on Trump, and we have J.D. Vance in the spotlight helping with the Kirk assassination widow, right? So let's see about the Epstein files and Congress. I think Trump is finished. He's sick. I feel like I don't care anymore. I'm falling asleep. I'm popping pills left and right, diuretics, loop diuretics, HCTZ, because of the edema. I took an image of the pill, which was 6-sided, and it was a combination pill of lisinopril and HCTZ. So he's popping water pills. Of course he's popping, which is for congestive heart failure and edema, the pills that he's on. I think it's very obvious he has congestive heart failure. So now he's got the Epstein files on top of it, and we're in the middle of World War III. People want stability, and J.D. Vance is now looking like the hero. They're prepping him. We can see this. Experts coming in. Are they can they side with their base and side with this president at the same time, or are they going to make up stories about scary trans people? Walking away. The president walks away. They give him the honor of resigning. What is the best thing to do if you're a Republican and this atomic bomb has dropped? You're on the verge of World War III. NATO is declaring a war on the president. The shooter was probably associated with right-wing Nazi groups. You've got congestive heart failure and edema. You're drawing pictures of prepubescent children in Epstein's birthday book, right? And using your signature as pubic hair in a prepubescent child. Right? The question is, how bad is it going to get? Or have you seen enough? Have you seen enough? How much have the American people seen? Have we seen enough? Has he made a laughing stock of the Republicans? Undeveloped breast. Intentional, very high up. They're not fully grown. Little bit of developed pubic hair for a signature. Is it enough? What do you think Putin thinks? Job well done. The American people are a laughing stock to the world, but it isn't just that we're the laughing stock of the world, we're the perverts of the world. Our president participated in this. Those are a child's breast. Those are not an adult woman's breast. People are upset. People are crying. People are upset. People are starting to realize that the president that they voted for is a child rapist and is hanging out with child rapists and was part of this. The President of the United States used his name to be pubic hair in a picture that is supposed to be child porn. Is it enough? Have we had enough yet? The duty has fallen on me, Mr. President, to inform you that we have reached a consensus in the Senate. We give you the honor of resigning. That's where we're headed. Hopes and fears, the heavy load that lay ahead for Congress, and the final outcome, the sun is coming out. Yes, everything will be released. They will not protect this president. They will throw him to the wolves. J.D. Vance will be the 48th president of the United States. Anybody want to talk about it? How are you feeling? Are you disgusted that it had to come to this point? Not in the eyes of the Republicans. And it's their decision who their president is going to be. They have Congress, and it needs to happen before the 26th. It needs to happen before 2026. They need to do it now while they have control. Well, there were Democrats on the list too. You know, there were Democrats on the two. Let's not forget that Clinton was on that list, and so was Dershowitz. So we have to, you know, this was about yeah, I hear you, Ginny. I hear you. We're with you there. It's bad. I don't think so. There's a lot of reasons why Till will never be the president, and neither will Musk. Musk doesn't want to be the president. He can't be the president. But what he can do is he can help determine who the president's going to be, and then try to be the president. You know, he tried to manipulate Trump, and the cabinet got rid of him. So, yeah, let's do one more before we close today. Okay, thank you all for being here. If you haven't had a chance yet to think about donating to the World Central Kitchen, we're raising money for the World Central Kitchen, which supplies necessary food aid to people in need in war-torn areas or disaster relief. They're currently in Gaza, and we support their work in Gaza, helping the good people of Gaza that are not the terrorists, the good people of Gaza. They need to eat. They need to be safe. We support that, and we support the work of the World Central Kitchen. So if you care about all of that, and we do, think about donating to a wonderful organization if you've had any fun or enjoyed any of today's show. All right, let's take a look at the future of SCOTUS, and then we will call it a day. Thank you all for being here. It means a lot to me. And thank you for your memberships. We're at close to 400 memberships. Thank you. And we are closely getting to 100,000 subscribers. So please subscribe. I'm so close, I can feel it. I'm itching, as they say. All right, the future of SCOTUS is 7 of Wands, the defense of 7. 2 are leaving. 2 people are leaving. 7 remain. A woman is leaving. That's concerning for me because the women are put in by Democrats. Sotomayor is starting to have health challenges with her eyesight, etc. Could be Sotomayor is one of the people leaving. Hopes and fears, Ace of Cups. And then the final outcome, the devil. We need to put in laws in place to oversee the ethics of SCOTUS, because nobody who has questionable finances should be eligible. There's going to be a betrayal. Somebody is going to betray somebody else, or there's going to be a betrayal or leak inside SCOTUS. Oh no, it looks like some woman is coming to help. Hopes and fears, 6 of Cups, trying to make nice, and then the devil, a new beginning. I think Thomas is leaving and Sotomayor possibly, but we have a new SCOTUS coming in. Looks like another female and another male coming in. So we're going to have to see what JD Vance does, because it looks like Trump is gone. Yeah, I think he's got 3.5 more months. These things could drag on before it's pretty apparent. If he's still here, I'll be shocked, because, how bad can it be? I think there's, it says donate below. There's a money thing. Let me see what it says. Where it says donate now, feeding Gaza's refugees displaced by war. We've raised $1,829. I would love for that number to go up. And it just says donate below where people are talking, and just click on the donation button and it goes directly to the World Central Kitchen. Thank you for that. They're a really great organization. All right, everyone. It has been awesome hanging out with you. Be strong. Remember, the main message from Spirit is you cannot afford the luxury of falling apart right now. Get out of bed, shake the dust off, and take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. You cannot afford to get sick right now. If you truly want to make the world a better place, you have to start with healing yourself. Falling apart is not what we need right now. All right, Slava Ukrainia, that's right. Okay, everyone, be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time. If you need to see me as a physician, medical intuitive, or just for a tarot reading, all that information is below the video. All right, we're out of here. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Peace out. Bye.